Bonjour, welcome to this month's edition of Rendez Vous with Yasmin
and Kumar. Our focus falls on an original concept of tourism in Sri Lanka.
The concept is the Galoya Valley agro-based ethno-tourism promoting indigenous tourism within the Galoya Rathu Vedda Community. Galoya in the southeast of Sri Lanka is home to the largest reservoir in Sri Lanka, the Senanayaka Samudra, which stands majestic with a beautiful scenic view. The region has a diverse landscape surrounded by untouched jungles where animals roam free in the wild. Ecotourism involves travel to destinations where flora, fauna and cultural heritage are the primary attractions.
A special feature of the Galoya region is its national park, which enables one to enjoy its abundant beauty and wildlife. Especially swimming elephants.
The concept of agro-based ethno-tourism is spearheaded by Maxime Wickramasinghe, an enterprising young Franco Sri Lankan.
It's a pleasure to be on Rendez Vous. So at Thema Collection, we really love to create properties after concepts. And before we went to Galoya, we knew about the tremendous biodiversity, about the cultural heritage, the indigenous communities that live there. But once we went there during the pandemic, we really fell in love with the community, and we were really welcomed as well by the Adivasi community in the region, or the Vedda community in the region. And our idea was to really promote organic farming, and then promote the indigenous or the Vedda community in the area. So we really concentrated on doing organic farming. So what we thought of was doing a drip irrigation for the entire farm. We actually rescued around 20 cattle from a local butchery, and now they are the ones that are producing all the fertilizer. Rathugala is a famous Adivasi or Vedda community which has been there from, I would say, even before Vijaya came to Sri Lanka. When we went there, we wanted to build a property with the community. We worked with the local community, who most of them started working. So these are, I would say, the Adivasi or the Vedda community, and sometimes also their second generations. So during COVID, what had happened in that community was that many of the population that found odd jobs in other towns in construction and other things, these jobs dried up. And we were very happy to provide employment, firstly to the people of the community, and they helped us create the property to the level it is today. Firstly, before promoting the tourism, I think it's important to empower the community. And then to promote tourism, we feel like we have an obligation to promote the culture, the language, the traditions, and we try to do that as much as possible. So a small anecdote, at Thema Collection, we no longer just say Aibuan Vanakkam, we say Aibuan Vanakkam Mama Kachak Kodamai to promote this. Through this, we try and, I think, tell their story. And in the future, we are trying to help the second generation or the younger generations of this community to be proud of who they are. It's a lovely story for people coming to Sri Lanka to learn and understand.
Stay with us for more on ecotourism after the break. Our next guest on Rendezvous is Dr Nalin Perera, a practitioner of alternative medicine who will talk about the practice of indigenous medicine.
Vedda medicine predates all other forms of medicine practiced here in Sri Lanka. Long before Ayurveda came, long before Siddha medicine came from South India, Vedda medicine was here. And it was the forest pharmacy that they used to get the medicines. And though it was not structured like Ayurveda, it had its own logic, you know. The medicines were kind of very simple. A lot of the medicines, if you had a wound, you used a particular herb. If you had a fracture, you used a combination of herbs. So though it was simple, at the same time, there was a lot of sophistication also in this. While availability was the main factor, also these medicines were tried and tested for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years. The other thing is, apart from using herbs as medicine, they also had these rituals mainly to pacify the Nayakun or your relative devils that were causing certain conditions, diseases. For that, they use certain rituals like the Kirikoraha, Kolamadua, and various other. There's almost about 150 years of research that has gone into studying these methods of healing. And with that, we can see now the Sinhalese have two main healing rituals. One is called the Dahata Sanya, which is a very dramatic, spectacular event where the 18 demons that cause disease are pacified, and all the practitioners keep wearing these masks, you know, representing different diseases and disorders. Now the roots of this comes directly from the Vedas. And also, there's another ritual called the Kohamba Kankarya that is used to kind of pacify or heal a whole region or even to bless the entire country. Even in that, we can see the direct roots come from the Vedas, because even to date, the bow and arrow and the axe is used as ritual tools in these rituals. Now, take this mask for instance. The bare face mask or the Mahasona is used today in this Dahatasani ritual. This particular mask comes from Sabaragamua. The word Sabaragamua comes from the abode of Vedas. And these rituals, these masks, now when you compare them with the down south masks, we can see even these monkey faces. They are quite primitive. When you compare them with the more modern, more Sinhala Sandi masks, there's a huge difference because these have had the influence from Bali and South India. Even in Dahatasanya, we have a mask called the Vedisanya. Now this is an interesting piece. This was a medicine box belonging to one of the last Vedda chiefs. And this, apart from all these seeds and bark pieces, had three other interesting items. One was the knife, a very small beetle cutter, and the fire maker. For instance, take this ancient fire maker. The important thing here I want to show you is this string is made from a plant called Sansevieria xylonica. Has about 20 different uses in the Vedda culture. One is to make string. Apart from that, a lot of other conditions like snake bites, scorpion bites, fractures, sprains were treated with Sansevieria. If you take, for instance, the Adivasi medicines we were talking about just now, I see there's a huge trend even from the Ayurvedic and the natural practitioners to study our own indigenous medicines, and even for the future generations to keep this knowledge going and for them to study the traditional medicines that were practiced by these Adivasis, I think is would be a great benefit for their kind of therapeutic work.
The first tourist destination in the world, France is also among the pioneer countries in terms of sustainable tourism and ecotourism.
Been lucky enough and privileged enough to, spend some summers in France with my family over there. And I think ecotourism in France is something that's been happening for a long time. And it's ingrained in the culture of the people to go hiking, to go camping. I think every summer, most kids spend their summers camping in France. So it's very ingrained there. France is a very mature in terms of ecotourism. We also, I think, with the events we do at our company, we learn a lot from, the people who come and help with these events, such as Raid Amazon, this health and safety aspects of how they do things. So, I think it's like this program, it's very important to have a mix of both cultures and the knowledge, and that's what I see would be the best for the future.
In keeping with ecotourism, Raid Amazon, a popular annual adventure trail originating from France, features French female athletes who compete their way through a range of challenges. The 2022 edition took place using the iconic Sigiri rock fortress as the backdrop. On that note, this month's edition of Rendezvous comes to a close.
A bientôt!